Ever had someone just pop into your mind out of nowhere? Maybe you're going about your day, minding your business, and suddenly that person's face or name flashes in your thoughts. You start wondering, why are they on my mind? Does this mean they're thinking about me too? It's a common experience, and today we're going to dive into what it means when someone keeps crossing your mind. 1. The power of your mind. First off, let's talk about how powerful our minds are. Our brains are constantly working, even when we're not actively thinking about something. Throughout the day, we are exposed to so many experiences, emotions, and memories, and sometimes our minds pull things up from our subconscious without us realizing it. When someone pops into your thoughts, it might be because something in your environment triggered that memory or connection. For example, maybe you heard a song that reminds you of them, or you passed by a place where you shared a special moment. The mind likes to make connections, so even if you're not thinking about that person intentionally, your brain might still link everyday experiences to memories of them. 2. Emotional impact. Now, another reason someone might be on your mind is that they've made an emotional impact on you. Whether it's good or bad, when a person stirs up strong feelings within you, your brain tends to hold on to that. If you're thinking about someone you had a crush on, or maybe someone you had a deep argument with, it's likely because there are unresolved feelings there. When someone touches our hearts, whether positively or negatively, it's hard to shake them from our thoughts. You might find yourself replaying conversations, imagining what you could have said or done differently, or simply missing their presence. These emotional experiences leave a mark, and that's why they keep coming back to your mind. 3. The unresolved connection. Have you ever noticed that the people you think about most are often the ones with whom you have unfinished business? It could be someone you lost touch with but never got closure from, or maybe a person you had feelings for but never got the chance to express them. These loose ends can cause someone to stay in your thoughts because your brain is looking for a resolution. Our minds are wired to try and solve things. So when there's something unresolved, especially in relationships, it's hard to stop thinking about it. You may catch yourself thinking about what could have been or what might happen if you had one more conversation with them. It's a way of trying to find peace with the situation, even if it's just in your head. 4. Do they think about you too? Here's the million-dollar question. Does thinking about someone mean they're thinking about you too? It's easy to believe that if someone is constantly on your mind, maybe they're also thinking about you at the same time. The idea sounds romantic, but the truth is, there's no clear scientific proof that thinking about someone means they're thinking about you as well. However, there is something called thought energy. Some people believe that when you think strongly about someone, you're sending out a kind of mental or emotional signal, and that person may subconsciously pick up on it. While this might sound like wishful thinking, it's a comforting idea for many. But at the end of the day, whether or not they're thinking of you too remains a mystery unless they tell you. 5. The mirror effect. What's interesting is that sometimes we think about people because they remind us of something about ourselves. This is called the mirror effect. Maybe the person you're thinking about has qualities or traits that reflect something you admire or dislike about yourself. You might be drawn to them because they challenge you, inspire you, or even frustrate you in ways that push you to reflect on your own life. For example, if you're thinking about a friend who's always successful in their career, it might be because you aspire to achieve the same success. On the flip side, if you're thinking about someone who hurt you, it could be a sign that you need to work on healing from that experience. Often, when people are on our minds, they represent a part of our journey that we need to address. 6. The influence of social media. Let's not forget about the role of social media. With platforms like Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, it's so easy to keep up with people's lives. You might see a picture of someone you used to know, or you might catch a glimpse of what they're doing through a post or story. These digital reminders can make someone pop into your thoughts, even if you haven't seen or spoken to them in years. Scrolling through your feed and seeing someone's updates can make it feel like they're still a part of your life, even if you've drifted apart. Social media gives us an illusion of connection, and that can keep certain people lingering in our thoughts long after the real relationship has faded. Let me share an example of how powerful these thoughts can be. Sarah, a friend of mine, once told me how she kept thinking about a guy she used to date in college. They hadn't spoken in years, but every few months he would randomly pop into her mind. She couldn't figure out why, especially since she had moved on and was in a happy relationship. One day she decided to look him up on social media, and it turned out that he had recently moved to the same city she lived in. She started wondering if maybe their lives were crossing paths again for a reason. But here's the twist: when they finally ran into each other at a mutual friend's party, she realized that the person she had been thinking about was more of a memory than someone she still had feelings for. It was like she was holding on to an idea of who he was, rather than the real person. The point is, just because someone is on your mind doesn't mean they're meant to be in your life. Sometimes it's just your brain playing tricks on you, trying to hold on to memories or unresolved feelings. It's important to separate what's real from what's just a fleeting thought. 8. What should you do? If you find yourself constantly thinking about someone, it's worth asking yourself why. Are there unresolved feelings you need to address? Is there something about that person that you haven't fully processed? Sometimes reaching out to them can bring closure, but other times it's better to let the thoughts pass and focus on moving forward. It's also important to take care of your mental space. If someone is taking up too much room in your thoughts, and it's affecting your well-being, you might need to set some boundaries. Whether that means unfollowing them on social media or distracting yourself with other activities, sometimes the best thing to do is give yourself a mental break. 9. Focus on yourself. At the end of the day, what matters most is where you are in your life. If someone is constantly on your mind, it's often a sign that you need to refocus on yourself and your growth. Instead of wondering if they're thinking about you too, ask yourself what you can learn from the situation. Use it as an opportunity to reflect on your own needs, desires, and goals. Sometimes, thinking about someone else can be a distraction from focusing on your own happiness. Shift the energy back to yourself. Invest time in activities that bring you joy, surround yourself with supportive people, and continue working on becoming the best version of yourself. Final thoughts: thinking about someone is a normal part of life. Whether they've had an emotional impact on you, remind you of something important, or you're just processing old memories, it's all part of the human experience. While it's tempting to wonder if they're thinking about you too, the most important thing is how you take care of your mind and heart. Embrace the thoughts, understand them, and then keep moving forward. You deserve peace, clarity, and the ability to grow regardless of who's crossing your mind.